Today is Tuesday, September 19th. What to know about 5 Americans freed from Iran and the deal it took to bring them home. And the national debt hit a new record. How did we get here? Well, it depends on who you ask. Also, another big celebrity was accused of sexual assault. The accusations against Russell Brand. Plus, why Clorox is warning of potential shortages. Why you may be asked to register to vote today. And no costume here, what real-life animal closed down part of Disney World. Those stories and more news to know today, next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. 5 Americans who have spent years in a notorious Iranian prison are finally free citizens. We first told you about this deal to free them last week, but negotiations have apparently been happening for 2 years now. The Americans had been accused of being spies or working on behalf of the U.S. government, but the White House and activists have said those charges were always bogus. To get the Americans back, the U.S. had to release 5 Iranians who were imprisoned on nonviolent crimes. Plus, the U.S. had to unfreeze nearly $6 billion in Iranian assets that had been frozen under sanctions. The Biden administration says those funds are only meant to be used for humanitarian purposes like medicine and food. The Americans' families say they are overjoyed and relieved by all of this. Still, Republicans are criticizing the White House for releasing the funds, saying that money is going to be tough to monitor, and they believe it will go towards something destructive. Others are basically calling it a ransom, and they worry it could lead to more Americans being taken hostage overseas. Meanwhile, the U.S. is imposing new sanctions. These are on Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. The Biden administration says they were involved in wrongfully detaining the 5 Americans in the first place. And once again, the White House urged Americans not to travel to Iran anytime soon. The United Nations General Assembly kicks off today, and the theme for this year's general debate is rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity. As the AP reports, there's not a single crisis that's going to dominate the meeting, since right now, there are quite a few happening. For example, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, new political crises in West Africa and Latin America, economic instability, natural disasters, and more. Heads of state and government from at least 145 countries are expected to be there. They include President Biden, who is set to give a speech today about advancing diplomacy and democracy, and Ukrainian President Zelensky in his first in-person appearance at the UN since Russia's invasion began. Several world leaders are skipping this year's summit, though, including the leaders of China, Russia, France, and the UK. But they are all sending representatives. On the sidelines, President Biden is set to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, and others. The General Assembly will continue for the next week. Well, as world leaders arrive at the UN headquarters in New York City, they can't expect to be confronted by massive climate change protests. Protesters were out for a second day yesterday, calling for the end of fossil fuel funding, despite what fossil fuels do for the economy. Yesterday's plan was to march from the New York Federal Reserve Building to Wall Street. Protesters blame big banks for funding projects that make climate change worse, and they say the Fed should prioritize the planet over interests of those big banks and corporations. But they never actually made it to Wall Street. Demonstrators had blocked every entrance of the Federal Reserve Building, and police told the crowd to disperse, but when the order was ignored, officers did start making arrests. More than 100 protesters were detained. Still, they're promising more demonstrations. It's not clear how much influence they'll have over world leaders at this point. Announcements on climate action are expected to come at COP28. That's the UN's climate conference scheduled for later this year. The U.S. national debt has hit a new milestone. For the first time in history, the Treasury confirmed the national debt topped $33 trillion. So how did we get here? Well, every year since 2001, the U.S. government has spent more money than it has brought in, meaning it's had to borrow money to make up the difference over and over again. Plus, the interest rates on that debt have been going up. And not surprisingly, both major political parties are blaming each other for it. The White House mostly blames Republicans for the growing debt burden, saying it's overwhelmingly been driven by trillions of dollars spent on tax cuts the GOP has fought for. But Republicans blame Democrats for what they call out-of-control government spending. We can't expect this debate to come up a lot more in Congress over the next couple of weeks. Lawmakers are up against a September 30th deadline to either pass a dozen bills or agree to a short-term extension of the current federal funding. If they cannot come to any agreement, the government will shut down. And right now, they seem pretty far away from being able to reach any kind of consensus. That said, Congress is known for its last-minute deals, so stay tuned. Heads up, you may be asked about your voting status today, and that's because it is National Voter Registration Day. The nonpartisan holiday started 11 years ago and is always observed on the fourth Tuesday in September. The idea is to raise awareness about where and how people can register to vote, as well as the deadlines to get it done in various states before certain elections, and to reach people who may not have planned to vote at all. Last year broke another record as organizers got millions more people prepped to cast their ballots. And there are all kinds of events taking place today, too. You can learn more, find registration events happening in your area or online, and of course, register to vote or check your registration status at nationalvoterregistrationday.org. We've also posted a link in our episode notes. More news is still coming up, but first, a quick break for our sponsor, which helps keep this show free to you. All right, what's one thing you can do today for yourself and for your health? A simple habit I've incorporated into my morning is drinking AG1. It is just 1 scoop of AG1 mixed with water, and I always drink it on an empty stomach as I'm just starting the day. I feel like it really sets me up for success in multiple ways. I love how hydrating it is, that it supports my gut health and immune system, and that it's this single solution that covers my nutritional basis first thing in the morning. Plus, it's me doing a simple thing for myself, and as a mom, that's a big deal. And it's a way to remind myself to continue those healthy and good habits all day long. I've also been pleasantly surprised that I felt a boost in energy and focus pretty quickly. So if you're looking for a simpler, effective investment for your health, try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/newsworthy. That's drinkag1.com/newsworthy. Check it out. People visiting Walt Disney World in Florida got a pretty big surprise this week. A bear was spotted in a tree right in the Magic Kingdom. And no, we are not talking about Baloo or Yogi. This was a real-life black bear. And several areas of the park had to be closed, including popular attractions like the Jungle Cruise, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, and many more. Eventually, the bear was captured near the It's a Small World ride. Thankfully, no one was hurt, not even the bear. It was taken to the area of the Ocala National Forest. Comedian Russell Brand is postponing the rest of his tour as he faces fallout from serious allegations. 4 different women spoke to British news organizations accusing Brand of sexual assault, and The Times says even more women contacted the newspaper with allegations since. British police say they're already investigating at least one allegation, though it's not clear if American police are doing the same since one of the accusers told reporters Brand raped her in the U.S. Brand says none of the allegations are true and any of the encounters with the women have been consensual. Still, these reports have been dominating British media as he is one of the country's most high-profile comedians, actors, and broadcasters. Even the Prime Minister's office commented, asking any other potential victims to come forward and speak to police. Besides his tour being canceled, a talent agency and book publisher also cut ties with Brand over these claims. His affiliation was cut from a charity, and some streaming services have taken down his shows and clips. Some popular cleaning supplies, beauty products, and food may soon be tough to come by. Clorox says a cyber attack last month caused wide-scale disruptions, and that could mean product delays and shortages. Of course, Clorox is best known for making products like bleach and disinfectant wipes, but it's also behind brands like Pine Sol, Fresh Step Cat Litter, Burt's Bees, Brita, Glad, and Hidden Valley Ranch. Though the company didn't say exactly which brands would be impacted. Clorox just says the breach was contained and it's still repairing its infrastructure that was damaged. But until it's fully repaired, Clorox says ordering and manufacturing cannot get back to normal. So far, Clorox has not given any specific details about the cyber attack, like who might be behind it, but it says it's working with the FBI on its investigation. CEO Elon Musk revealed another controversial idea for X, formerly known as Twitter. During a live stream yesterday, Musk said the social network might not be free for much longer. Specifically, he said the company was, quote, moving to a small monthly payment, a change he says is necessary to deal with the issue of bots on the platform. Musk did not say what the new paywall could cost or when it might be coming. But it's apparently just one of many changes Musk has in the works at a company that's already seen a ton of change since he took over last year. So stay tuned. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes has already led the Kansas City Chiefs to 2 Super Bowl wins. And now, at just 28 years old, he's getting a supersized contract. NFL media reported this week the Chiefs and Mahomes restructured his current deal. So now he'll get paid $210.6 million between this year and 2026. Obviously, that is a lot of money, especially for a guy who has offered twice to rework his contract to free up more money for other players. Mahomes has said he'd prefer to win titles over being the highest paid player, and he can't do that without a good team. Well, now he's the highest paid player anyway, at least by one metric. This latest deal gives him the biggest guaranteed sum of money over a 4-year span. The team will revisit the deal again after 2026, but Mahomes is actually under contract with Kansas City through the 2030 season. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Trivia Tuesday, when we ask a different trivia question every week. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Miracle Made. You've probably heard us talk about news related to space on this show, and honestly, I find it all so fascinating. So how cool is it that my bed sheets now were inspired by NASA? Yes, using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long. And the sheets infused with silver help prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth. And finally, of course, the reason I really do keep these sheets on our bed is because they are comfortable. So go to trymiracle.com/newsworthy to try Miracle Made sheets today. You can save over 40%, and if you use our promo newsworthy at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it is backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/newsworthy and use the code newsworthy to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/newsworthy to treat yourself. Okay, now back to Trivia Tuesday. And today's trivia question is, how far away can the human eye see? You can play along with us in our weekly roundup email that comes out each Friday. Simply sign up to get it at thenewsworthy.com/email or find the link in today's episode notes. As for last week's trivia question, what kind of animal was first to receive a medal for bravery during World War II? The answer is pigeons. In 1943, 3 pigeons serving with the British Royal Air Force received the Dickin Medal. That's the highest award any animal can receive for serving in a military conflict, and it's recognized worldwide. The messenger pigeons were honored because they were involved in recovering an aircrew during World War II. The Dickin Medal has been awarded 75 times since to 38 dogs, 32 pigeons, 4 horses, and 1 cat. All right, thank you so much for listening today. If you feel more informed after listening to this episode, be sure to hit that follow button in your favorite podcast app so you can listen every day and stay in the know. Or leave a review so others know to give us a try too. Thank you so much in advance. We'll be back with another news roundup tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.